Noga, I want to ask you, we're talking about the rocket that was sent today towards an Israeli home. Residents in that area in central Israel towards the north have about a minute and a half to get to a shelter. Where you live, just off the Gaza border, we're talking about 15 seconds or less, like here.
15 seconds is a myth. We don't have 15 seconds. I have in my house, if I'll have 8 seconds, I'm in good shape, and it will explode outside the kibbutz.
So in a case like this, where you see, like almost 2 weeks ago, where rockets were fired towards Tel Aviv, and in this case, when they were fired towards central Israel, and this kind of attention is paid to it, what do you think? What do residents of the Gaza community, Gaza border community, think? You know, when you're living this all the time?
Well, we mostly feel frustration. You know, no one counts us anymore. It's like, it's okay that the residents around the Gaza Strip will have rockets falling around. It's everything okay. But if it goes to the center of Tel Aviv, then it's a real thing, and then we need to react. We need to react all the time. We need to do, I don't know if these type of actions will solve anything, but we need to do something to solve it.
So let's rewind for a moment and just talk about the present day, because as we've been talking about, the escalation here has already begun. They're expecting, the Israeli military is expecting an eventful night, if you want to put it that way. What are residents of Gaza border communities like yours being told to do, and what is sort of standard practice at a time like this?
Well, we were told to stay alert. There's no one told us to stay next to shield areas, next to the safe rooms or inside the safe rooms, unless we will hear the alarm take off. But we need to stay alert. I can tell you for myself, I'm going to close the iron window in the safe room, and as it is an empty room right now because my son is in the army and in the area of Tel Aviv, most likely I will sleep there tonight and not take the chance that, as usual, I will not hear the alarm take off in the middle of the night.
So as somebody who's been living this reality for a long time, and it has been well over a decade that residents of all these areas, again, where we are here in Netiv HaSarah, just less than a mile away from the Gaza border, what would you like to see happen? Because we see lots of political promises. We see Netanyahu today, again, warning he's going to have a very forceful response. But what more do you want to see?
I want my goal at the end is peace, no doubt about it. I want to become the good friendship and the good neighborhood that I remember as a child living here, because I live here my entire life. And I remember days walking around Gaza, going to restaurants there, having the best hummus in the world. That's my hope. The way to do it is to help them, and then to help the people, not the Hamas, not give money to the Hamas. But I don't know how to do it. If I would know, maybe I would tell someone how to do it. But to help the people, and help the people that are now raising against the Hamas, and help them and making them have something to lose, and maybe then they won't come every night to the border and throw bombs at us.
All right, Dr. Noga Ghulst and our Jonathan Regev, thank you both for being with us here. And as you hear, these residents of these border communities like here, just under a mile away from Gaza, have this as a reality, really almost on a daily basis. They want to see change, and that change also means a more long-term solution. And that certainly is far-fetched when you look at the current political situation.
Air raid sirens in southern Israel. Let's go back to our Nurit Ben.
Hi, Calev. Right, we were speaking just one moment ago, and this really is a sign of how fragile the escalation is here. We're speaking to you from a sort of impromptu bomb shelter that's in this neighborhood, this community of Netiv HaSarah. We're less than 1 mile from the Gaza border. We just heard those air raid sirens. As you mentioned, those air raid sirens sounding in the southern Gaza border area earlier, just about 40 minutes ago. Now here, we're in the northern Gaza border, and all alongside this, certainly the sounds of drones up ahead, and the Israeli airstrikes are continuing. I just want to remind our viewers what we're talking about in terms of time to get to a shelter. Where the rocket attack fell this morning in central Israel, residents have around a minute and a half to get to a shelter. Here, it's about 8 seconds, 15 seconds, so there's really not much time to react. And that, Jonathan, is exactly why the resident we just spoke to about 40 minutes ago said, I'm sleeping in the bomb shelter tonight.
Exactly, because we just experienced it ourselves. We heard the red alert siren. It was less than 10 seconds, I think, till we heard the explosion. That's the time we had to run to this shelter. We were located just outside, so we were able to make it in those 10 seconds. But if you sleep there, just if you have an upper floor and you sleep in the upper floor, you have, 10 seconds to run down to the shelter? That is nearly nothing.
And really residents, what Noga, who is a resident of a Gaza border community, was just telling us now is that the problem with going to schools at a time like this, the problem with things running normally for all the residents of these communities is even just the drive somewhere. It might not be school that's a problem, but the drive to school is very scary for those parents and for those kids who may only have, as we said, 8 or 15 seconds to actually get there. And Jonathan, what we're seeing now, this is essentially what was expected, which is an escalation overnight.
An escalation overnight, and at least for now, the communities targeted are the ones on the Gaza border communities. Earlier in the evening, it was the southern part of the Gaza border community, and now we're going outside because we're seeing here attacks right where we are in the northern Gaza Strip.